All right, today we're going to break down a really complex and, frankly, wild set of allegations made by one man. He claims he's up against a powerful global network. So let's just dive right into his testimony. And this is where the whole thing kicks off, with this pretty stark declaration. The author recorded this video testimony because he genuinely believed his life was in danger, to create a record just in case the worst actually happened. So what are we really looking at here? Well, on August 12, 2025, this video testimony goes live, and in it, he lays out this whole story of an alleged poisoning and a break-in. So in this explainer, we're going to walk you through all the key points of his very, very intricate claims. So picture this, he wakes up at 2 a.m., just violently ill, with all of these symptoms. He's convinced it's because of a poison that was planted in his home, and he points specifically to that bitter, metallic taste, a detail he says makes this attempt different from others he claims to have survived. Okay, so you have to be asking, what could possibly set something like this in motion? Well, the author points his finger at a single, really provocative text message. He says that's what started it all. And here's the thing, according to him, this was not random at all. He believes he intentionally poked the bear, He wanted to provoke a response as part of his own personal counterintelligence strategy. He actually has a name for this strategy, a 3-step method he calls identify, evoke, expose. So step 1, use data to identify who he believes are the operatives. Step 2, evoke a reaction, basically by confronting them with what he knows. And then step 3, expose whatever they do next. So who was on the receiving end of this evoke phase? A man named Eduardo Hurtado. The author says he's a former Venezuelan intelligence officer, someone he had actually contacted years ago for security consulting work. Now, check out the message itself. He claims he sent this text telling Hurtado that his cover was blown. Why? Because a secret database with all the agents' addresses had supposedly leaked, and their alleged leader, Diosdado was keeping it from them. I mean, that is a high-stakes move for sure. So you send a message like that, what happens next? Well, according to the author, a whole series of events started to unfold the very next day, which he believes was the network's direct reply to his text. This timeline really shows you just how fast he claims everything escalated. It starts in the morning with a drilling truck showing up at his water main, which he saw as a kind of veiled threat. But look at that critical window, that 20-minute slot in the evening when he was out of the house. That's when he alleges the break-in and the poisoning happened. He also claims his trip to the preschool was deliberately made weird to delay him. He gets there, the parking lot's totally empty, no staff in sight, and half the kids are gone. Even his own child's clothes had been changed, which made him waste time looking for the originals. He sees all these things as coordinated anomalies designed to buy the intruders more time. All right, so, proof. What proof does he have of a break-in? Well, he claims he actually captured it on camera. Not directly, but through what he describes as a total stroke of luck involving his car and a second camera. Now, this is a really crucial point, so let's be clear about what the evidence actually is. The author points to a very faint reflection of movement in the side of his car, which happened to be shiny and recently washed, that was being filmed. He also claims that the audio from that recording captured the unmistakable sound of his gate opening right at the exact time he says the break-in happened. Okay, so for the author, this wasn't just a one-off thing. He believes it's all the work of this massive, hidden organization he calls the network. So let's try to unpack his theory on this. At the very heart of his whole theory is this idea he calls the geo-index. He alleges this is a secret database that basically maps out the entire network. It assigns a numerical score to every single asset. We're talking people, houses, even entire companies, all based on how important they are to the network. And to give you some perspective on these scores, he lays out a few comparisons. The Tesla Gigafactory, for example, is supposedly worth hundreds of millions. But look at this. Eduardo Hurtado's house, the guy he texted, allegedly scores 3.5 million. That's even higher than the alleged leader, Diosdado's home. To the author, this proves just how important Hurtado really is. So the big question is, how did they supposedly get in without a trace? No broken windows, no forced entry. Well, he has a theory for that too. He calls them weakened locks. Locks that are intentionally made so they can be opened by a small set of master keys, giving operatives easy, untraceable access. And his testimony gets really specific here, detailing the exact moment he claims he proved this theory to himself. He says he took an 11-year-old key, a key from when he first bought his house, and just for the heck of it, he stuck it into a brand new 2-year-old lock he had sitting in a box. And it opened. Then he claims just seconds later, the power to his entire house was cut, a move he's convinced was meant to distract him from what he just discovered. Okay, so that's the allegation. But what happened after he went public with all of this? He claims the response was immediate, it was coordinated, and it was all aimed at one thing: silencing him. Well, the first thing that happened was censorship. That video testimony, the one he recorded because he thought his life was on the line, got taken down by YouTube. The official reason they gave was that it violated their harassment and cyberbullying policy. But here's where it gets really interesting. According to him, the reason for the takedown, it seems to have changed. The very first notice pointed to a violation at the 6-minute mark, right where he names Eduardo Hurtado. But after he appealed and got rejected, he says the violation was suddenly moved to the 36-second mark, which is where he shows his own driver's license for ID. And then, it wasn't just online. The legal pressure started almost immediately. He says just hours after posting the video, he gets a court summons. The motion is a request for a court-ordered psychiatric evaluation, and he finds the timing incredibly suspicious, claiming a hearing was secretly scheduled for the day right after the alleged poisoning, a hearing he says he only found out about after the attempt failed and it got rescheduled. So when you take all of this in, from a single text message to this sprawling international conspiracy theory, all documented on YouTube, it really boils down to this one big question. In our modern age of social media and information warfare, what actually happens when one person's private investigation and their deepest convictions are broadcast for the entire world to judge?